And we're live. This is Wednesday noon, the check-in show with Dawn Xanklin, Mike Gamache, and me, Paul Ash. Welcome, everybody. Say hello if you are watching, but it's just basically three friends checking in with each other to see how they were doing and what's happening in their lives. Um, Hi.
Hey,
Hi. Hi. How are you?
I'm great.
fancy meeting you here.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Yes, exactly.
And the same batty people. It's
Yeah.
all. Yeah, this is we had a very good BattleCom on Monday, so I was happy with that. It was a good show. People can watch it on repeat if they just go to the link tree and watch that. So that was fun. Dawn, you have some news as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got a couple of things. There's something cooking locally, charity related. Details are being hammered out. It happens this Friday. So I think the best thing might be for folks to follow me on Instagram so they can see details and so they can find out exactly how to support. It's going to be really good and worth it this Friday, late afternoon. And after that, on Monday, there's something else awesome that I'm doing. I'm doing a clean comedy show for a fun group of people in Almont. It's with Curious and Kind Presents. It's an organization that supports the arts in Almont. They had to close because of reasons last year, but they're back and they're bringing talent to the forefront for everybody. So there's
Excellent.
lots of great stuff happening.
Super.
How are you going to do clean comedy? What's
It's been known to happen.
Oh
But
my.
yeah, with a 10-year-old at home, I've had to, well, he's in charge of the swear jar for mommy,
Ooh.
but but so I've built up the muscles to be able to switch a little bit.
You,
And
you
yeah.
have to. You have to learn, Don. You have to learn to
Oh, I
employ.
started off as a clean comic.
No, no,
And
no. You have to. You have to for your swear jar
yes.
thing. You have to learn to employ and develop euphemisms, things that you can say that aren't the swear, but it's sort of like
Oh,
bring you to
fudge.
that. Oh, fudge.
Oh yes, he uses many of them and changes
Shoot.
when parents leave. Oh no, he's a he's a
I would
crafty
lo-
one.
I would love to see his face when you first say, "Oh, excrement."
I don't know. I
You'd
don't
go,
know.
"What?"
He's pretty fast with a dictionary.
Yeah,
So,
I know,
yeah.
but still.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. So the clean comedy is great. A lot of American friends I met over the pandemic on Zoom shows and in Zoom writing rooms.
Mhm.
There's a big difference in the States between the clean, they call it clean comedy, and then the standard comedy. And
Right.
I've never seen that divide there. So I was joining some clean comedy rooms and working out jokes. And it's funny because it seems to make the joke writing stronger when you're deliberately clean because you're not looking for the
Yeah.
obvious route, right? So it's kind of it's an interesting exercise.
Well,
And when
I took a course. I took a
important.
course that our friend Paul here gave many years ago, and I also took a course with Joy Elias, who's another Montreal comic,
Mhm.
and both of them stressed the fact that you can always dirty up clean comedy. It's a little more difficult to clean up dirty comedy
Exactly.
because some of the punchlines lose their bite, if you will, and some of them are just don't work.
Oh no, absolutely. So I think for a comic, especially if I want to do more corporate gigs,
Yes.
I need to, I
Yeah.
need to have the clean comedy as something in my toolbox that I use
Yeah.
more
Most
regularly.
mostly like here, I think in Quebec here, CEGEPs and universities, they prefer clean comedy. They'll tolerate, some swearing or some very like innuendos and stuff like that, a little mildly dirty. But
Huh.
usually they prefer to have something that's relatively clean and
Clean is
certainly
also referred to as corporate,
yes, corporate.
Yeah,
Yes, that's true.
corporate.
Corporate
Yeah,
comedy. Yeah.
right?
exactly.
I've had I had a good reputation as a very clean comic, and David Pride
Oh,
was known
yes.
as an amazingly clean
Yes.
comic, and
Yes.
then he's done, but he's also gone out and done some clean comics gone wild type shows.
Yeah.
I've done
Yeah, that's
those as well.
always fun.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Karen Joy in Ottawa ran a really good one, a good series on that. But yeah, to see David Pride now. I saw David Pride his very first couple times on stage, and when he started, he was oral pornography.
But I think that's where I think a lot of us see examples of people doing that kind of comedy. Like if you go to open mics, it's what 90% that,
Yes,
95% that.
yeah, but there's a science to doing dirty comedy well. If you don't do it well, it's just vulgarity.
Yeah, but I think most people don't do it well.
Yes, that's
Open
true.
mics.
That is true. That is true. I mean, you can pepper the odd swear word here and there, but that doesn't make it you a dirty comic. But also, if all of your material is based on the 7 words you can't say on television,
Yeah, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, no, because but anyway, there's different ways of doing it, but I love the fact that there are these opportunities to try different ways to be funny. And and again, like connecting with comics from all over on Zoom was unexpected but awesome.
I recently came up with a little bit of a theory, and I'm going to run it by you. It's not fully fleshed out yet.
Okay.
It's a combination of some things I've been mulling over in my head for a long time. Good comedy is comedy that has an emotional bent to it. So people can connect to the emotional bent. They might not understand the situation that you are describing, but they can understand the emotional journey that you're taking through the joke, the shock, the surprise, etc.
Yeah.
And I've noticed sort of a trend that there's a lot more negative or angry comedy.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's harder to have people connect with their positive emotions and laugh.
Well, especially if people are looking to comedy as a distraction, especially given all of the chaos that's happening outside. You don't want to go in there and leave more heavily than you arrived.
Well, but that's just it. Thinking about lightness and good things, it's like they go in there to connect with the angry, because you see that a lot, right? They're connecting with the angry jokes, like, oh, did you see what that person did? That person really has pissed me off, right? Let me be snide and rude.
Right.
And I'm not talking about hecklers. I'm talking about like just general joke structure.
Are you talking about like in the style of like a Bill Burr, where he goes on and he rants? Everything is a rant. Like if he goes up,
it's not necessarily even just rant comics. I mean,
But it's like but it sounds to me like they're the idea of working with tension in a joke, in a bit. If they're not resolving that tension, and then the audience just receives the tension unprocessed, I can see that would be a problem. That would be kind of like.
I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just noting
that's the trend.
That trend, right?
Yeah.
I liken it to, I've often said, sometimes my wife will suggest watching this movie or like checking out this, program or something like that. And I sort of look over either a trailer or synopsis or something. And I find that it's like really, really heavy slogging. And I say to myself, or I say to her, actually, I say, I want to watch something that's a little bit more uplifting, something that is entertaining and will actually, lift my mood at the end of this thing, not remind me how awful and unfortunate and unfair life is. I don't want, I've been to, like, I'll give you a classic example. I went once with a couple of friends from work and my wife. We went to see, at the time, it was the premiere in Montreal of the what's the movie with Joe Pesci, De Niro in Vegas, Casino. Oh my God! The four of us left the theater feeling like we needed a shower after that movie. It was so traumatic. It was a movie that hit you over the head repeatedly, and then once for good measure, bang, final hit. So it was like we left there and we're like, ugh, oh God, that was like, whoa, it's actually a pretty damn good movie, but my God, the subject matter is like horrendous. It's just like, ugh, So these are the things that, if you're going to go to a comedy show, you want to leave having fun and laughed and thought, oh yeah, there's some really silly shit going on, everything is horrible.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, well, Bill Burr is very famously funny.
Yes.
And I'm saying he's able to connect with the negative emotions and get jokes and laughs out of it. It was the thing. It began percolating in my head, I think, last week when it was after a vaudeville show, and somebody came up to me and was saying that they really enjoyed and found it very unexpected that a humorist could go up there and be uplifting.
Mm-hmm. They were surprised?
They were surprised.
Wow.
That there was a positive, there was a positive message and there was a positive, spin on it all. And that it left them feeling better.
I wonder what they normally consume for a stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a lot of the people who come down to the vaudeville show are people who wouldn't go to a lot of the regular comedy shows.
Yeah. Right.
Cool.
Right, because they'll find some subject matter that is way too prevalent to be triggering, or so it is a safe space show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is I don't know. I think I let artists be artists, and I try to curate the show to be welcoming to the type of artists who are welcoming to the audience. So there's not many angry comedians on there. Though there are some jokes that some of them will do that have
some,
there's a little bit of being upset in the joke, but and the Love Doctor in particular he's not about being angry. I mean, occasionally he'll be disappointed because he's reading these cards, right? The audience writes questions and he answers the questions in a humorous way, but also trying to give good advice.
Right.
Huh. Cool. Oh, you mean like the Zoom broadcast, or not the Zoom broadcast, like the Sunday night show? Does the Love Doctor do that on Wednesdays live?
Yeah, it does it live.
Oh, cool. I did not know that. Yeah.
While hosting the vaudeville variety show.
That seems very complicated.
Another comic who's also funny as hell, but touches on some really dark stuff and touches it in a way that, sort of like causes you to sort of like maybe not wince, but like think deeply about shit, is Doug Stanhope. I've seen some of his shows and he's hilarious, but my God, it's heavy slogging at times.
Oh, I need to listen to more. I watched one, I can't remember what special it was, but I couldn't connect with it. And I don't think I watched the whole thing. I was like, I'm done. I was like, I don't get it. But perhaps it was a bad day and bad segment.
All right. I don't know. Cassandra Ellis is giving us a VOI, FYI. Oh, volume? Is that, are you saying
for
that
Dawn?
we should...
Oh, am I quiet?
No. Maybe it's with regards to the echo thing.
No, well, I'm not hearing an echo. So
I am. So
you are now.
And,
okay.
And Dawn, you're still hearing that little bit of echo.
Cassandra, if you can give us a little bit more information about what that is. But thank you very much for the tip, and thank you for
checking in.
Yeah.
Checking in with us.
Yes.
I'm drinking my clam juice. Just.
Oh. Why? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know it has no vodka in it.
No vodka. It's a Virgin Caesar.
Do they still not know what a Caesar is in the States?
No, they have no clue.
What? I thought it was just poutine that was a big mystery.
No. They have no idea what a Caesar is. A Caesar is
They don't
Canadian
even have ketchup
invention,
chips.
and no ketchup chips. Forget it. What the hell is that? Yeah, but no, they don't. They have no idea what a Caesar is because basically Clamato was born in Alberta for some reason.
That's a
And,
strange place to.
That's a very strange place to have included
Clam
clam juice into tomato cocktails.
Yeah, there's not a coast there. Why
No,
would
there is.
people
Well,
do
actually,
that?
there is a coast, but it's kind of like on the west side, and
Oh,
anyway.
does it connect to Hudson's
No, it doesn't connect to
Bay?
the ocean.
no,
No.
there's another province between them and the coast.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well.
Yeah, and,
Like they're
and
far
a
from the
rather
East
large
Coast.
mountain range.
Yeah, large mountain range, a whole other province. Yeah, but
exactly.
it's considerably closer though than the East Coast.
Yeah, but I would think
there's a
that
whole
Clamato
fucking
would
continent there.
originate in like BC or
Yeah.
like the Maritimes rather than
Mhm.
like a landlocked province.
Yes.
I grew up. I grew up digging clams.
Yes.
So-
Ooh. Did you ever hear
We
of
go
people
clamming.
making a local clamato?
No, Clamato was the only place. I mean, like we would make clam chowder. Like clam pancakes are surprisingly great.
Really?
Huh.
Okay. Are they a savory dish?
It depends on what you put on it. It's
Because clam juice is kind of salty.
well, yeah, but you're not using the clam juice. You're using clams
Oh.
and pancake batter.
Oh. Okay.
So they are a little bit salty, but yes, that's great.
Okay. I've never heard of clam pancakes, so.
Neither did anyone in my family until I made them when I was like 7 years old.
Nice.
Okay.
So
Nice setup. Nice setup there, Paul.
It's sort of a family thing that I
Okay.
kind of started. They were actually
Right.
kind of surprised.
Right. I bet.
So they didn't stop
so-
you from having access to the stove. That's the important part.
So
No,
so you're
no, it
so
did
you're
not.
Okay. Good.
so your teen years were probably filled with clam bakes on the beach.
Actually, not my teen years. My
No?
my preteen years.
Preteen
were
years,
more
okay.
or less. Because
Yeah.
like a lot of the beaches while I was growing up sort of became like closed to fires.
Oh yes.
And you like as a kid, I remembered we would drive like the family van out onto the beach
Yeah.
at some places like Clam Harbor Beach, which
Can't do that anymore. No.
Can't do that anymore. It's a provincial park, and they've fenced it all off, and
Right.
I mean they're protecting the dunes. I
Yes.
completely understand it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
my-
a wonderful beach
Yeah.
too. That's
I have not visited much of Nova Scotia, even though I was born there. I mean, my mom was my mom came from a small town here in Quebec, Sorel, Quebec, and when she married my dad, who was in the Navy, they moved to Halifax, and my mother was turned on to seafood when she spent the couple of years that she did in the Maritimes, in Nova Scotia. And she was introduced to clams, to oysters, to lobsters, and to this day, my mother loves seafood, but had never ever tasted seafood before that trip out east. So
Wow.
she,
Interesting.
yeah,
my mother tells a story about trading lobster sandwiches for bologna sandwiches when she was a
Yes.
schoolgirl.
yes, because
Wow.
because it was a
Lobster
Lobster
bycatch.
was poor people's food.
It was bycatch. It was not the fancy food we know it as it today. It was actually considered poor people's food.
Yeah.
Because it was bycatch. It was like when they went fishing, they happened to drag up lobsters, and the lobsters were like, "Ugh, well, what do we do with these things? I'll throw them in the pot. We'll eat them."
Oh. You also could just actually walk offshore and reach under a rock and grab one.
Wow.
Oh,
Back in the
man.
day.
Yeah.
My parents were born in the 1930s,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
No,
That
I'm
makes a
thinking
difference.
about the Canadian Heritage moment where the boat can't get to the shore because it's blocked by so many fish.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
The Juan Caboto story.
yes.
yeah.
That they lowered a basket and it brought it back up. It was full of fish. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
Well,
the TV show Ghosts, one of the earlier episodes, actually, it's sort of been a running gag with the character of Thorfinn.
Mhm.
mhm.
He talks about cod. He talks about fish and how to cook fish.
Mhm.
Because the ghosts don't eat, but they
Right.
remember eating,
Right.
Oh, that's torture.
and they can smell food. And so
Ooh.
Oh.
once they found out that they had access to a human, they asked the human to
Eat.
start cooking things
Right.
so they can smell it.
They could smell.
But
Yeah.
but Thorfinn has an entire thing about
Cod.
because he's a Viking
Right.
Yeah.
in this upstate New York area, and
hmm
it's like, what? How did you guys get here? So yeah, that airs tomorrow night.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, but he. Yes.
Yes. Cool. I will put
Uh,
it in my calendar.
yeah.
Because TV is like a rare treat for me at home.
Yeah.
Why? Because your son and your spouse
Well, no, mostly
monopolize
because,
it, or what?
well, I just don't. Everything I watch is like on a different platform. So I
Oh,
think
okay.
yeah, and then it's audiobooks. Audiobooks or podcasts for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been getting into the audiobooks. Oh my goodness! Anyone see a good film recently?
Not
I have
recently.
not seen a movie lately. No.
Yeah, I've been watching Hawkeye.
Mhm.
I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones. I don't know what you'd call them. They're just sort of backstories about the
Oh, okay. Yeah.
prequel story. So that's like my guilty pleasure, just like binging Game of Thrones, how it should have ended, or the
Right.
House Targaryen, and I'm just like,
Well, there's
this is better than the show.
the thing is Game of Thrones dealt with only one series of the books by that author, right? There's
I don't know.
there were prequels and sequels to the actual books that
That he
the show
actually
was
finished?
based on.
Nice.
So
Didn't think so.
I
but-
think so.
Okay.
And in actual fact, while they were filming the TV show, he had yet to write the end
Yeah.
of that series.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Song of
but
Fire and Ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there was a great video. Someone did 2 hours worth of how it should have ended. And by the end, I thought, I want to read this
Mhm, yeah.
because they did great things with the arc, with the
Mhm.
tension and what the characters could offer. And there were twists. And I thought, this is wonderful. This I want to see. But,
Mhm.
Are you including Stoneheart?
I don't know if they included Stoneheart, but they had the characters doing different things, and by the end, the ending was a lot different. Different characters were lost,
Mhm.
but others went on and did very useful, interesting things. Yeah, I'll have to send you the link because I don't want to spoil anything in case
Right.
you want to check it out. It's really good.
There are, Hawkeye. What's your thoughts on Hawkeye?
Oh God. Kate Bishop is so annoying. She is the main character, and I don't know what it is. I've had some animated discussions at home trying to figure out what it is that irks me so much about her. I think that she's not very original. She reminds me too much of Green Arrow, just with her backstory, and she has no impulse control. And I'm just thinking, okay,
Get it together, girl.
No, because she has this privileged role. Her character does. Oh, sorry, I don't know if this is spoiler. Maybe I should spoiler. But I'll be very general. She has this privileged role in society, but she doesn't use it well, and it just annoys me to see that because
Mhm.
I feel that given her experience and her upbringing, she should be making very different decisions, and I guess I don't buy it as I see this character navigate through the plot so far.
Yeah,
She's-
sometimes in a character's development, there are really big plot holes that somehow just sneak into it, and you're going, wait a second, that's really against type for this character. And and they put it in anyways. It becomes part of the canon, and you just like thinking like, what?
Well, I don't know. I'm not familiar
you,
with her from the comic book, so I don't know if this is how she's portrayed there. But I just don't. It does not grow on me. I don't know if she's supposed to, because
in the series she comes off as like an entitled adrenaline junkie who immediately thinks no one else can do anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Dune. I saw Dune. I saw it with Gavin Stevens from the Uncolonized podcast, and I forgot that story was written in 1955.
Yeah.
Oh.
I really forgot that the story is about colonization with a heavy dose of white savior.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the white man comes in and saves the day. Yeah. It's like it's like if you watch classic westerns and you see them nowadays, you look at them and you just like take them at face value. Holy crap! I mean, it's like cringe city. It's just like the white man can do no wrong, and the natives are savages.
No, I keep thinking about The Last of the Mohicans. I saw that years and years ago, and I was just like, oh my God. Or even the one with Kevin Costner. I forget what it's
Dances
called.
with Wolves.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
But it's surprising to me how
well,
it was.
with the things that have been coming out with the residential schools and everything, and the treatment of natives at the hands of North Americans, white people in general, it's it's painfully obvious that holy shit, there's a lot we need to address. Still a lot that is still covered up and hidden, and not the native population is aware of it because they're the ones who went through it, but a lot of the white people is like clueless, completely clueless.
Yeah, but and I think also if there's that much ignorance about history that happened that's not even taught at a basic level. When I was growing up, it's changing. My son is telling me about what he's learning at school, and unfortunately, it sounds like a lot of that education is coming from the students. So that needs to shift. It needs to be built in. But I mean, you see the ignorance sort of reproduced all over the place.
I mean,
right?
there was horrible treatment of the native population. There was horrible treatment of the Chinese population when the laborers came over and built the railroads. There was horrible, of course, the African American thing, slavery. Then there was the Irish people were very much considered second-class citizens in the 1800s when they first emigrated after the potato famine. The Italians were viewed as there's so many things where the white mentality, there was this white, like white is the greatest thing to be. Well, white is the biggest,
Fortunately, there's some free history available for folks to digest.
I grew up in Halifax. The statue of Edmund Cornwallis has come down. I mean, he was very proud of the first person who intentionally gave blankets used by smallpox victims to
the natives.
To the natives. I didn't learn about that until the government built a building across from the Native Friendship Center on Barrington Street, I believe it was, and they were going to name it the Cornwallis Building.
God!
That's when it's sort of like, oh, okay, but like. I mean, Halifax also had Africville, which was a community that they refused to. Well, yeah, but they even before it was raised to the ground, they refused to extend plumbing and water to the area. Electricity was sort of hobbled together.
Everybody points fingers at the American treatment of the black population, but we weren't much better.
I know
No.
my history.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in an area that was one of the Prestons, but the thing is, it got renamed as English as white people moved in. So the Prestons were a larger area. It was a land grant to at the end of the Underground Railroad. It sort of was, Nova Scotia was the end of it, and they were given a choice of a boat ride to Africa or a land grant. And when some of them were taking land grants, they just were given the rockiest, most inhospitable area outside the city limits. And the community I grew up in was part of that area, and had its name changed to Porter's Lake. And then there was also Lake Echo, these places. And the next community was actually an Acadian community called Chesapeake. So those communities, were bordered onto that area, and then it's sort of segregated out. It's there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff that's going on, like the stuff with natives in Nova Scotia now is pretty horrible. But if you take it back on the Dartmouth side of the Halifax Harbor, there was a native settlement that was their land area that they had, and then the Halifax explosion happened, and it killed everyone who wasn't there. Or who was there, sorry. So those who weren't there when they came in, they sort of like gathered their dead, gathered their belongings and left. But they never ceded the land.
Right.
And the city built a power plant on it. And, and then, so now the city has had to, has turned around and has been giving the natives larger piece of land that have been owned by the government. So there was like military housing units area that is now all native land. They own what used to be the Shearwater Air Force Base.
Yes.
Lot of that area has now been ceded to the Mi'kmaq tribe. So there are efforts, and it's just we need to applaud the efforts and make sure that they continue.
Yes. Yes. I mean, we can never truly make the reparations necessary because it's just
education helps. But
education awareness, just plain awareness is like what was it? Somebody was talking about they're having a show at a specific locale in Montreal, and in the blurb that they were promoting the show with, they acknowledged that this was once native land. The location of the venue was once native land, and they named the tribe that it belonged to. So it's like, okay. It's something that everybody should be made aware of. We're basically living like the island of Montreal was Iroquois territory.
Yeah.
So
there's some great maps online, and I don't know in the originator of them, but taking North America and overlaying where Indigenous territories are and were before everything was carved up.
Well, the thing that we have that many actually Eddie Izzard in one of his shows talks about people coming to America and noticing that the Native Americans didn't have a concept of ownership of land, and said, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, we'll just take over everything, and you don't own anything anyway, so why should you object?" So because
that sounds a little generalized to me.
It's a little generalized, but the Native Americans, even though they did have tribal lands, and they never felt that they owned the land. There was
but
lands.
You know what? There's like so many different communities in there, so we can't describe them all in a homogeneous sort of like they all.
True, but most of them revered the land and thought the land was only loaned to them, not for them to own.
But it's opportunity
it wasn't
to
just
learn
land,
more.
actually.
Yeah, it was all resources.
Well, not just resources. Like a tool. Like the Mi'kmaq were accused of being thieves because if you're using a tool, it's your tool.
Mm.
If you stop using it and put it down, then somebody else can come along and pick it up to use it because its property wasn't a thing.
Right.
So
Interesting.
I mean, if you stop to look at a lot of the Native North American cultures, they were basically socialists. Everything, like the resources available were for everybody in the tribe, and they would make sure that to share even with the most vulnerable and the sickly and the elderly, and they had great reverence for people who were not as able as others.
Revolution,
Yeah.
Pre-industrial revolution,
Yeah.
Even in Europe, it was like there was a job that was found for your abilities.
Yeah.
I thought
That's the romantic side, romanticized thing of it.
I thought that the idea of the job pre-industrial revolution came from what your father was doing, just through the family.
Well, that's when you get the Smiths and the Coopers and the
yes.
Yeah.
That I mean, there was some of that, but the idea if the Cooper had 8 sons, they're not all going to become Coopers, right? Or
Right.
if the Cooper only had 1 son, but he had a lame arm, right? He would not be able to work as a barrel cooper,
Right.
so a job would be found for him,
Right.
Interesting.
right? I mean, begging really spiked during the Industrial Revolution because not only did production become standardized, but the people to fill the roles had to fit those standards.
Yeah.
And so if you did not fit a role, then you weren't employed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Happy thoughts!
Yes. Hey, we're having an uplifting show of the stuff.
It dovetails to the idea of the less than uplifting comedy that we're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that the angry comedy can't be like funny, doesn't add levity, but
Yes.
I am saying that it connects with, and I think that also has something to do with the fact is that human beings, where we've been genetically programmed, if something harms us, if something hurts us, we remember that stronger than remembering something that is pleasant.
We remember the negative. We remember the negative much more than the positive.
Yeah.
The positive happens, we acknowledge it, but it doesn't linger. The negative seems to burrow into our subconscious, and just like,
Yeah.
So,
So there we go.
There we go.
We did manage to come a full circle.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to watch Ghost tomorrow night.
Can you remind us what time it is in your time zone?
Your time zone.
my time zone. Okay.
Oh yeah. I was thinking we have. We've got Vol FYI again in the comments, but I don't know what that means.
That might be a spam bot because it's from somebody else, but it's the exact same
comment
text.
So I'm thinking 8 p.m. Eastern time for Ghosts. But I don't know.
Because I watch it online with the global app.
Okay.
And
I need to add that to my arsenal.
Yeah. So it's on. It's on tomorrow night.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. As I'm seeing people in my feed saying really good things about that show. They're really enjoying it.
It is. It's a fun show. The British one started off a little tighter, but that's because they were a sketch troupe who did Horrible Histories, that TV show.
Oh,
I love that TV show. I love anything based on history and hilarity.
Yeah, and so they decided to write a scripted show called Ghosts, and that's been on the BBC since 2019. And so the 2021, that's when they did the copy over trying to get a Sanford and Son
Right.
well,
What's the
it
other
was
one?
Steptoe and Son
Yes.
in the UK and Sanford and
Yeah.
Son in the US. But The Office, like trying to
Right.
get that kind of a success.
Right.
Interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this in a previous show, but I went to high school with an actor who was in I think an earlier episode of Ghosts.
Oh,
Yeah, and I don't remember what episode number or what his character was. But the
Okay.
actors, am I allowed to mention?
yeah,
his
go right
name?
ahead.
Rodrigue Williams was in that. I think fairly recently, because I remember seeing on the socials.
Mhm. If you like historical,
Can you physically describe him if you can't remember the role?
Oh, sure. He's African Canadian, and kind of like,
He's actually done. He's actually been in 2 episodes.
oh yeah,
He
oh
is
cool,
the construction foreman.
nice. Oh, okay,
So
cool.
he's the person that comes in. So for Thorfinn's funeral,
Okay.
when he was doing construction and they found bones on the yard. So they found
Oh,
out actually where Thorfinn had died. Because
nice.
all the ghosts are people who've died on the grounds.
Do they go? Do they get dispatched once they have a ceremony that releases them, or are they
Um,
stuck there until they learn
if
something?
I
Oh, sorry. I guess I
there
don't want spoil. That's spoilers, right? Sorry. I'll figure it. I'll watch and
Yeah,
figure it
you
out.
figure it out. They have a rather unique name for it,
Okay.
which I don't want to say because
No worries. No worries.
it
I
spoils it
will.
when it's
yeah,
actually when the ghosts start talking about it.
right.
No worries. I'll watch and learn like regular people. I'm the kind of person who reads a book and starts at the back.
Right.
So yeah, not everybody does that.
Okay, okay. If you like historical bent and comedy stuff, you must have loved Blackadder then.
No, British comedy, and
Oh, but Blackadder
it's
is so hilarious, and
no.
all
I
of
think
the
the only
all
one I liked was "Are You Being Served?" I got a huge kick out of that.
yeah,
Mr. Bean sometimes, but it's really Monty Python.
yes.
I actually hate. Friends
You
have
hate.
I
Okay.
hate, except I love 2 of their songs. The Galaxy song and the like,
Yeah,
Right Side of Life.
yeah.
I play those on repeat. But I don't know. I think I need to watch it again because the last time I watched Monty Python with any like effort to try to understand them and to
Right.
enjoy them was like in my 20s. And so I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch again. Maybe I've mellowed.
If you must try to reconnect with Python,
Uh-huh.
might I suggest Life of Brian, because that one
Oh,
is just so
Sacrilegious.
okay.
it's so
Maybe I'll.
sacrilegious. It's so sacrilegious and yet not sacrilegious, and so hilarious and yet thought provoking. You know, it's like
Maybe I'll have an adult refreshment before I
Okay.
watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Life of Brian, if you are offended by anything religious, it is not.
Oh
a good
no,
idea
I'm
to
not. I
watch.
just was like, it was just like kind of like, oh my God, they're explaining the funny. Like what? Like I don't know. I just
They I like kind of the awkward funny at times. So sometimes you see me just kind of lean in and whisper, and it just sort of gets a little bit
Yeah.
awkward, and see that makes you giggle. They do that as part of their sketches.
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
They break rules.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
They were constantly breaking the fourth wall.
They are dadaists.
Yeah.
It's dada. That's what they do.
Surrealism and the
Which is ironic
Oh.
because you're not supposed to repeat anything in a dadaist,
yes.
and then they got stuck repeating everything.
Okay, because I have the same problem with abstract art, so that makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Then this
Okay.
is this
Yeah.
is the thing. But but still, like it's important to like even if it's not my favorite, just to kind of understand it.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
it's important.
Well, it's, the older stuff, especially like the television series of Monty Python, a lot of it is very dated. A lot of it is very England centric. It's
Yeah.
like the political stuff and the things that the references they make to are very. You have to have been. You have to have followed British politics to get a lot of their stuff. There's a lot of things that they go back to, about the First World War and they talk about past prime ministers and stuff like that. That if you watch it nowadays, you're going, what are they talking about? You have to really be in the know to catch all the nuances. Yeah, to catch all the nuances, you really had to be in the know. Even when I was like, Python came out, I think in '69, the first series. I was 14, and I watched it, and a lot of it I sort of went over my head. But as I sort of like grew into more of it, I sort of started delving into where the references were based in. And once I found the references, the joke was even funnier. But it was like, okay, but you may want to sort of like make it a little bit more topical, but you couldn't do that with them because they were all products of their environment. So they were all upper class
I don't
university
remember
people.
As that way at all, personally.
Okay.
But I would say though, Life of Brian, I definitely recommend that as a good starting point. Because it has more of a story than some of their other ones, other film length ones. It also has a kind of a unique scandal history because they had funded it to go make the film, and they went to Tunisia to do it, and then word got out what they were doing, and so churches organized boycotts against it, and so they lost a lot of their funding, and George Harrison stepped in, said, I want to see this movie. So George Harrison kind of made that film happen. Yeah, through his company, his production company, Dark Horse. Yeah. And you know what the working title for Life of Brian's script was? The original working title. I don't remember. Jesus Christ, Lust for Glory. It's like, whoa! How blasphemous can you get? But then they changed it to Life of Brian, and the whole premise of this thing is the parallel life of somebody. Who
I know. I have seen it. Yeah, but I hated it. But I'll watch it again.
Don't go back to something you hated unless you.
Well, no, I was also crotchety. So
if you want a good example of the Dadaist in Python, Google the fish slapping dance. It's a wonderful it's 30 seconds of absolute ridiculousness, sublime idiocy, but it's funny as hell. And it's I think it's one of their signature sketches. And it's just Michael Palin and John Cleese.
How does it rank with the Ministry of the Silly Walks?
Well, Ministry of Silly Walks is also a great one, but Google the fish slapping dance. You won't regret it.
What's the opposite of Dadaist? Because I think I might be that.
Well, Dadaist is a sort of like a form of surrealism.
So what's the opposite of that?
Realism.
Realism. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe I'm that.
Yeah.
Realism. I'm gonna write that down so I can. Yeah.
So I guess in comedy, the opposite of that would have to be the Larry David Show.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best friends said, well, in real life, like off stage, that I remind him of Larry David. Like he was, because he was just like, you are Larry David, and I was just like, oh my God, maybe that's why I hate watching the Larry David show because it's too close.
Too familiar. It's too close to home.
Exactly. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my!
All roads lead back to Larry David. That's horrible.
Yeah.
So on a scale of Python to Larry David, what is your comedy taste?
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
That's a broad spectrum right there.
I have no idea how I sort of like mixed Howard Cosell with
Woody Allen in there, maybe.
Oh, I didn't think it was Woody Allen. I thought it was Spectacles.
Larry King.
Larry King. Yes, I can see that.
Cosell.
Oh my God, Larry King and Howard Cosell doing an interview together would be hilarious.
This is one of the top 10 sports moments of all time.
How do you feel about that, really?
Oh my God.
All right, we are devolving.
Yes, we are. Maybe we should pull the plug.
I probably need to eat something.
All right, yeah. Don,
Your blood
you need to
sugar is
eat something.
plummeting.
Mike, you need to eat something. I need to wash some dishes.
Yeah.
What's something that you're looking forward to in the next week? Keeping it positive.
Keeping it positive. More snow, actually. I really was disappointed that we got a real nice dumping of snow and it rained on top of it. Because it's like, you want a nice white Christmas. And a little bit more snow would be
Look
nice.
at my face.
Okay. I guess a non-comedy thing that I'm looking forward to is this is the weekend that I get to meet up with one of the mastermind groups that I'm in. They're all like, type A Black women. They're all doing all kinds of like amazing projects, but we all get together way too early on, Saturday mornings from all over the world. And we're like, Zoom call, and we learn about something uplifting. Like there's a lot of self-care, a lot of productivity. There's a lot of I don't know. I think they want me to talk comedy at some point. I like comedy in business or comedy in presentations, and but it's great, and I look forward to it. So I can show up, like I can just roll out of bed, go into Zoom, and be like, "Hey guys."
Is it a little bit wrong that I was picturing Larry David in that situation with a bunch of like full on alpha Black women?
Yeah, with a swear jar.
Yeah.
Larry David with a swear jar. Oh my God! You know what? I think the next time I get to dress up and stand up, I'm gonna go like Larry David. Forget the blurred suspenders. It's gonna be like Larry David all the way.
Yeah.
All right, and me, I'm looking forward to tonight vaudeville, and tomorrow watching Ghosts. So.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh yes, and I am watching Ghosts tomorrow too.
Terrific. I will see you guys next week.
Definitely.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Be